characteristic of you, actually. I was proud.
Look, man, we've been doing this pod for long enough. I've learned from the way you do things. I've picked up between you and Carrington, like I'm picking up. I'm like, okay, so I don't have to actually believe what I am saying. I just have to like say it very loudly and boisterously, and like people will be up in arms about it.
So you didn't really believe that?
Oh, I absolutely believe that. I knew the whole week. I knew it was Philly. I said it on this platform.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. Since you're on vacation, you want me to pioneer this show. So let's get right into it.
No intro. You just going straight in. You don't want to thank the fans. You don't thank people listening at home. You don't want to.
You're not giving me a chance. So you can't even help yourself. You can't even let me do it. That's crazy. Thank you guys for tapping in. Another episode of Coast to Coast. Now you're good with that number. I'm not. This is 66, right?
65.
I thought last week was 65. You sure?
Let me double check.
I'm pretty sure I remember you saying 65 last week, I feel like.
Nope, 64 last week.
Oh, okay. Well, you're right. See, you know your episodes, man. So I'm not going to doubt you again. Episode 65 of Coast to Coast. This is your host today, Mark Gunnels, here with Aaron Ladd, who is live from Chattanooga, Tennessee. It looks like he's in an attic right now, hanging out with what does that say on that shirt?
This is an H&M special. Okay. It says positive state of mind. And I thought that this was perfect for today, considering a lot of the negativity and just vitriol and just some nastiness we saw in the kingdom after Monday Night Football. So, I thought I would embrace a little positive state of mind, Mark Gunnels.
Cool. And I'm going back to back with the Kansas Jayhawks shirt. Before we get into the Chiefs, they did lose in football to Kansas State in the Sunflower Showdown this past weekend. They had the third string quarterback. Still probably should have won that game. I mean, talk about self-inflicting wounds. I think the Chiefs kind of took after the Jayhawks this past weekend. Guys fumbling the ball at the midfield on punt returns. It was just ugly, man. So I think that's 15 straight wins for Kansas State over the Kansas Jayhawks in football. But KU is still bowl eligible. I think they still had a successful year, considering all the injuries at quarterback they've dealt with. What are you going to say?
That's got to be tough going from like your college team. You're like, all right, well, like my pro team will cheer me up.
And since we gave a KU update, I guess I'll be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Mizzou. Barely escaped the unranked Florida team in Columbia by the skin of their teeth. Needed a 4th and 17 conversion on the last drive, and it wasn't a long field goal at this time, actually, from the thicker kicker. It was a pitch shot for him this time.
Quit hating. Number 9 in the country. Quit hating.
Number 9 team in the country. Yeah, you got it, man. Well, you were there, weren't you?
I was not there. I was not there. I was working from the desk on Saturday, left KC early Sunday morning, but I made 3 predictions before the weekend started. I said Wildcats win, I said the Tigers win, and I said the Eagles win. It's about to be Vegas with Ladd here soon. I'm just saying it's gonna be Vegas with Serta and Ladd. Oh my
God. Well, with that being said, let's get into this game recap, man. I got a lot to say.
Mahomes avoids, throws. He's a magician.
Chiefs recap.
Oh, Aaron, I would be lying to you if I said this one didn't sting. I mean, this one stung, bro. The Chiefs lose at home in Arrowhead to the Philadelphia Eagles 21-17. In a game where I feel like the Chiefs had control for majority of it. You're up 17-7 at one point. The defense was playing lights out. You got 5 sacks in the first half. I mean, against arguably the best offensive line in football in Philadelphia. Very, very valiant effort from that defense. And the second half happened. And this is where we're going to get into the offense. The drops, right? That's been the big talking point on X today and all the social media platforms. As Aaron Ladd throws up the X sign for you guys listening on audio right now. But yeah, I think we have to start there. Well, hold on. Actually, let's rewind. Because I know it's a lot of negatives, right? And you got your shirt says positive, right?
Thank you. Can we start with some positivity, Mark Gunnels?
I think because there's so much negative, that's probably gonna be the bulk of our conversation. So I think we should start off with the positives here. And I'll go first, and I'll let you kind of piggyback on it. I think the obvious positive, I mean, the defense, right? But we know that. Let's get it. We'll get into that. But how about the run game? This has been a talking point from me and you throughout the year. You know, early in the year, we were going back and forth. You were saying this team can't run the football. I was saying they were unwilling to run the football. I think you kind of backed off your stance a little bit after you saw a couple of good performances by Pacheco, if I'm not mistaken. But heading to this game, the Eagles were ranked number 1 in run defense. It's almost impossible to run on this front. I mean, obviously you got Jalen Carter there. I don't know how they stole him from Georgia. He just fell into their lap. I mean, they're so deep. You know, Hassan Reddick. We can keep going on and on about their defensive line. But Pacheco, 19 carries, 89 yards, 4.7 yards per carry. It's pretty damn good, I would say. And then obviously Mahomes pitched in with his scrambling. He had 38 yards on 6 carries, which is over 6 yards per carry. In total, they ended up with 168 rushing yards on 30 total carries for an average of 5.6. I thought that was a very welcome sign on the day that a lot of doom and gloom is hovering over the Kansas City Metro because it's getting cold, right? And we're talking about the second half of this season. Can this team run the ball? I made the argument. I think they will actually dedicate themselves to running it more with the weather changing, with the receivers not being able to get separation. And when they do, they can't catch the football. I said, if you could run the ball efficiently, it should theoretically make life easier for all your other elements of your offense. So I want to start there. I know we'll get to the defense, but what did you think about the running game?
The running game was one of the bright spots in this one for Kansas City. And you're right. I did kind of back off saying that they couldn't run the ball to they're unwilling to run the ball. And I still think some of their unwillingness to run the ball has bit them in their butt at times. A lot of third downs in that second half for KC. And we're going to have to touch on the second half. The last 3 games, Kansas City hasn't scored in the second half, shut out in the second half of the last 3. And for an offense that has had success in the run game, has one of these angry runners, world to Kyle Brandt, like a guy who seems to get stronger as the game goes on. It just seems like they rely a lot on the pass game in a lot of those short yardage situations. And Travis Kelce didn't look like his usual self. We know that there's been problems in the wide receiver room, but when you have a team kind of beat in this area of the game, when you know that you're beating them in the run game, I don't want to see them go away from that at all, Mark Gunnels. Like, I think that obviously the negatives outweigh the positives in any loss in the National Football League, but like, I just, and then there was wasn't there like a Clyde carry there in the second half, 2 for 20 for Clyde. I liked how they got Kadarius Toney involved with the run game. And they've always shown a propensity to use those type of gadget plays, but I just can't get over. I can't get over the second half, man. This one specifically, and you talked about it's stinging a lot. Like, the MVS drop is going to, it's going to hurt. I'm sure right now it hurts inside that locker room. I'm sure there's a lot of question marks because I believe he only has 14 catches on the year, if I have that correct.
Yeah, it's around there.
Maybe Serta can fact check that and throw something in the private chat, but I can't talk about the positives right now, man, because the negatives are just so. I mean, we've talked about ad nauseum this pass catcher room going all the way back to training camp. Like, you're losing games now because of your inability to make plays when the ball comes to you. Point blank and period.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is tough. Serta just said, we're looking for the MVS stats. What is his total catches on the year? But
what up, Mav?
Yeah.
Look at Thanksgiving going on.
We got Maverick here joining the show.
maybe he can run a couple routes.
You want to run some route? He said yes. All right, I got you. Go back to the room. I'll give you in a second. All right, but yeah, man, it's definitely tough. And I know we're going to talk about the drop a lot and all the drops, but to me, the turning point in this game was really the Travis Kelce fumble.
Why you say that?
Well, you're up 17-14 at that time. You're within the 10-yard line, and that was a first down play, I believe. So you would have had, I think, second and goal or second and short, one of those. But either way, I think it's a good chance you get a touchdown there on that possession, and you go up potentially 24-14. And I think if you have a 10-point lead, especially in the second half with that defense and with the momentum shifting, I feel very comfortable saying you come away with the win in that game. Now, it was a great defensive play. It wasn't like, Kelce just dropped the ball or, that was a forced fumble. Like the guy literally punched the ball out. So you have to give credit on that, but it definitely gave me flashbacks of the fumble Kelce had last year against the Bengals. Remember in that regular season game where you felt like on that drive, if you scored there, you kind of put the game away, but you gave them life. That's kind of how I feel about this one. But it was even worse because this one was actually in the red zone, whereas that Bengals one was like around near midfield-ish. And sort of just confirmed on the season, MVS has 14 catches for 249 yards and 1 touchdown.
Well, let's get to this question in here. Jeremiah is rocking with us in the chat. We got a little active chat early. Appreciate y'all tapping in with us. Chiefs Coast to Coast, Arrowhead Pride Podcast Network. Jeremiah asks, how valuable is MVS to this Chiefs team, really? Because Mark Gunnels, he was brought over from Green Bay to stretch the field, to do plays exactly in which the one he was targeted in on that final drive. And I think maybe this is just me being brainwashed by the kingdom. I have been adopted by the kingdom over the past 3 years, but there was no doubt in my mind that KC was getting 6 that drive, and it didn't look pretty. They were faced with a lot of third downs, and Kelce had a key drop on third down just to drive before that, or that was earlier in that drive. But I still was confident that they were going to get 6. And to me, I think the drop happened on, was it a second down or third down?
Well, the MVS drop?
Yes.
That was second down, so it was 3rd and 10 after that. Yeah.
Mentally, it just Mahomes tries to be company man. We talk about him towing the line a lot and saying all the right things. I know he said a lot of things in post game, but the expression was all over his face, dog. I mean, how valuable is MVS to this team? I'll answer it and pass it back to you, Mr. Point Guard. His value has dropped tremendously. And I said coming into this year that I thought if he took the biggest step forward, that the offense could take a step forward, but he has regressed immensely. And there were points in time, I think he had 81 targets his first year here in KC, where you could tell that the chemistry and the timing wasn't all the way there, but there was still the potential of trust and the role in the offense and the opportunity to take advantage of some of those plays. Bro, the trust and the opportunity seemingly have vanished. I don't really see the value there much anymore. And obviously these things could change, and it's a moving target, but we saw rock bottom on Monday Night Football for Marquez Valdes-Scantling in Kansas City.
Yeah, and this is the unfortunate part about this answer I'm about to give. I think he still does have value, but it's by default because this room, where else do you go? Now, I will say this. I do think it's getting to the point now where you have to treat Rashee Rice and Kadarius Toney as your top 2 wide receivers.
Kadarius Toney?
Yeah, and live with the results. I mean, in limited touches and snaps last night, he actually showed a little pop. Even in the punt return game, he showed a little pop. He took a couple big hits and got back up. I knew he had a hand thing going on, but he came back in the game. I just think when you're looking at the room, those are your 2 highest ceiling guys, right? I mean, I don't. It has to be
22 catches for 139 yards in the score for Kadarius Toney so far this year.
I'm actually surprised he has that many catches. That actually kind of surprised me. I know a lot of them are just like 1 yard little wide receiver screens and stuff like that. So maybe that's why it doesn't feel like he even has that many, which I know it's not that much at all. But when you're comparing it to MVS, who only has 14 and is getting double the snaps, it does feel like a lot. But I mean, how about Justin Watson getting 11 targets? Is that a result of he's the only one getting open, or is that just who Mahomes just trusts the most? Like,
I lean trust a little bit more in that, but Mark, honestly, out of this game, I'm not making drastic changes. And I saw you mention on X this, and I've seen a couple people say this, like, this is who Kansas City is at this point. Like, they haven't reinvented the wheel. They haven't changed who they are from week one. Like, this is virtually the same offense, the same routes, the same concepts. Like, if we catch the ball, we're not having these large conversations about the wide receiver room still. I mean, yeah, we're probably still nitpicking. We're probably still saying, hey, are they still getting the most juice from the squeeze of the lemon? But like, the sky is not falling in Kansas City. That's probably one of the biggest things that I wanted to get on here and say today. Like, they're 1 play away, 2 plays away, and really 3 plays away. And I saw a lot of the screenshots floating around from being 10-0. Like, the scheme still works. The trust is still there. Mahomes is still making plays. Like, the running game was the most effective it had ever been against a team worth their salt. Like, I don't really know if hell, call me yellow light lad. Sure. Why not? I got my yellow marker here to prove it. But like, I'm not making I saw people talking about, didn't you post what's Terrell Owens doing right now? Like, dog, come on.
I was trolling. Come on. That wasn't serious. That was
Terrell Owens. Talk about Chattanooga. That's a UTC legend right there. But come on, man.
Just joking, man. Just joking. Just feeding into it, honestly, at this point.
That's what you love to do. Yeah. You see the pot boiling and Mark. Here comes Mark Gunnels just.
Well, I was surprised. Can we address your tweet before the game? Like, that was such uncharacteristic of you. Like, I was shocked when I saw that.
It's called a post on X, by the way.
Oh, my bad. I'm not used to you posting on X saying things like that. Like, that was very, very bold of you, I would say. I mean, you got ratioed pretty badly.
If y'all are not familiar, I took to X a couple hours before the game and posted a few words. It said, Eagles win big, just a hunch. Really nothing crazy. I didn't think that was going to cause as big of a stir as it did. But
you know,
Mark, here's the truth, right? Like, both these teams are coming off a bye, but Kansas City had not been playing well going into the bye week, offensively specifically. Like, the defense played their ass off once again, and we'll get into the defense a little bit later, what they've been able to do, what they were able to do once again against Philadelphia. But like, I didn't think that was that bold of a take. Maybe if I would have tweaked anything, I probably wouldn't say win big. Obviously, like, some people really.
That was the part. If you would have just say Eagles win, you wouldn't have got the pushback as much as you did. The fact that you said win big, that's what it was.
And you know what I learned from this? I'll take my medicine, because I don't think I was completely wrong, but obviously I wasn't completely right. You know what I learned from this? Kansas City's defense is too good for them to get blown out. No matter how bad the offense is, no matter, I mean, it could be me and you out there running routes. Like, Kansas City's defense is going to keep them in games, whether the offense wants to participate or not. Like, the Eagles did not play particularly well. And I think a big part of why I sent that message pregame is I thought that Philly was going to come out with their A game. I thought Sirianni was going to be stirring all offseason on the loss. I thought that they were going to come out. I also thought Jalen would look a little bit better. He still seems to be hampered by whatever, a knee injury or something. But like, I thought Philly was going to bring their A game. To me, both these teams kind of brought their B or C game, and Philly just made a few more plays down the stretch, and Kansas City couldn't hold on to the ball. That's another reason why I'm not completely overreacting to what happened in the wide receiver room. Like, these were two of the best teams in the league who played pretty much an even game for 3 quarters. Yes, both sides made mistakes, but eventually Philly made enough plays to win the game. If I'm KC, I'm yellow light.
Okay. Well, let's see. Are you yellow light on this topic? Because I feel like we have to discuss this. We're going to be doing our job if we did not I think you may know where I'm going with this one. Travis Kelce, the Swiftie himself. I hate this thing. I really do. I hate the fact that it really is a narrative, and it's been a thing. I don't know. I can't explain it. When Taylor Swift is not there, this man does not play good, bro. It's really the most mind-boggling thing because you've been playing elite your whole entire career before she even got into the picture. But here's what I really want to talk about because people are really talking about this on national networks and everything today. And he came out a few days ago talking about he's thinking about retirement more than he's ever had before. He's had all these surgeries. Obviously, him and Taylor with the love stuff going on. Do you honestly think he is distracted? That's been the question that everybody's asking today. Do you think there's something to that?
How am I supposed to answer that, Mark Gunnels? From a podcast mic behind my laptop here on Thanksgiving break. Like, I don't know. He didn't have a good game. I don't think that's anything that we can debate. He did not play well. He did not play to his standards.
Do you think he's at least is he taking a step back? Do you think his age is starting to show and he's starting to slow down a little bit?
I mean, he's getting older. Yeah. And I thought you referenced the Wall Street Journal article that came out.
Yeah.
Great timing on that for them to publish that right before
the
largest Monday Night Football game since I believe 1996 is what the numbers showed. Yeah. 29 million viewers, most watched Monday Night Football game since 1996. Look, he didn't play well, man. And I like that, especially on that drop on third down on that penultimate drive. They go right back to him on the fourth down. He picks it up. The fumble, like we talked about leading up, I mean, it was a forced fumble. Great play. Andy Reid gave him a look that I don't think I've ever seen Andy Reid give in my time covering the team. So obviously, like people are noticing a difference in his play. And even in training camp, he was fired up, man. He was in a couple of skirmishes. I remember him sending out a post on X saying, hey, got to be a better teammate, got to be more locked in. Would it surprise me if a guy that was in Argentina and then Germany and then Denver and has #1 podcast in the world and is dating a superstar, would it surprise me if he's not fully locked in on football? No, it would not. But I don't think it's completely fair for us to get on these mics week after week and say, oh my gosh, he's not the normal Travis Kelce. He's not the guy that, like, yeah, he's getting older. Yeah, guys are adjusting to him. Also, he set the standard mark to a point to where, like, if he drops one pass, people jump down his throat immediately. Like, the bar is so high, unless he wins a Super Bowl ring every week, it's like, bro, you're distracted. It's like, what? Like, I don't think he had a good game. We can't say that he did have a good game, but I'm yellow light on us saying Travis Kelce is done or whatever. The quotes were extremely revealing. That to me is more interesting than anything that really happened on the field, because that actually gives us a peek into his mind. He talked after the game for the first time in a very long time, which I thought was kind of crazy too. Like, he hadn't talked post game all year. So the fact that he came out and said, even though it was for a minute or whatever, the fact that he came out and took responsibility, said, I need to play better. We as an offense need to figure this out. Like, it shows that while he may be not at his peak, he's still mentally there. He's still bought in. I mean, he's still the heartbeat and the pulse of what they do offensively.
Yeah, and I agree. We just had to ask the question. Yeah. Well, I had to ask you at least. I mean, the guy is still on pace for about 100 catches, a little over 1,000 yards, and about 8 touchdowns. I mean, it would be down from last year. And not to mention, he did miss a game. Let's not forget about that. He did miss a game as well. So, yeah, I'm not concerned there at all. I just think the big thing is nobody is fearful of anybody on the outside whatsoever. So I think he's getting a lot more coverages rolled to him. Guys are beating him up. And like you said, he's had a couple of knick-knack injuries this year, and he's older, obviously, and it's just a lot of wear and tear on his body. I mean, we got to remember, not only has this guy playing every single game in the regular season, they're making deep playoff runs every year too. So that's another added on 3 or 4 games pretty much every year over the last 5 seasons. So that's just a lot, man. It's a lot of wear and tear on his body, and somebody else on the outside has to step up. I do think Rashee Rice needs more designed targets.
I just think him having the ball in his hands, we saw how electric he is and getting yak. I mean, he put Darius Slay on the ground. I know. Did you see that move?
Ankle still might be on the ground.
He put that boy in the dirt. So I just love him in the open field because he seems to never go down on first contact. So I do think that needs to be an emphasis moving forward, man. But
you don't think teams fear 24 out there on the outside?
You talking about what's it, Sky Moore? Is that his name?
Is that his name? You got on these exact mics on this exact platform and said he was going to be an 8,800 to 1,000 yard receiver in his offense.
Oh, look, we check his stats after 10 games. Let's just see what.
Go look at that, please, because show me what he's on pace for.
Let me see what his pace is. So right now he's at 17 catches, 205 yards, and 1 touchdown. Just based on my naked math here, about 6 games left? No, you got 7 games left. He's roughly on pace for about, 28 catches, about 350 yards, maybe 1 more touchdown.
I think the question about value that we had earlier, I mean, the MVS value is one thing, but what's Sky Moore's value to this offense? Mark Gunnels? I know what Kadarius Toney's value is. It may be inconsistent value. We know MVS's value may be inconsistent. Justin Watson seems to be damn near a precious metal. He's gold in this offense. Sky Moore, what exactly is it that you do here?
And that's the thing. I really don't know. I honestly do not know. Before the year, like I keep saying, I thought he's going to be primarily in the slot. That has not been the case. He cannot win outside on this level consistently. When they do use him, it's like designed gadgety type stuff, right? Like reverses or a little wide receiver screen on the edge to try to give him the ball and see what he can do with it. It's never just him routing anybody up and Mahomes trusting them down the field and dotting something. And when he does try to go to him, he dropped it like he did in the Broncos game, or it seems to be an interception or something of that sort. That they just are never on the same page. It's very frustrating. I mean, you're talking about year 2. Kind of gave him a pass last year, right? Rookie receiver in Andy Reid's system. Kind of go with that narrative, give him a pass. You caught a touchdown, Super Bowl, wide open, sure, but still, you're thinking, okay, maybe that can carry over and build some confidence,
some momentum, some positive momentum. Yeah,
I got a Super Bowl touchdown, my first one. You go down to Texas and you're working out with Patrick Mahomes.
You really got played by that. That fooled you. Of all the things, and I always get on you in the offseason. I'm like, Mark, this shit that you keep retweeting, reposting, like, it is meaningless. It means nothing.
So there's no value to working out in Texas. There's nothing. There's no value at all. Nothing.
Actually, I'll give you the value. 1 catch for 4 yards.
So what are they doing then? They might as well not even practice in the offseason then, right? Like, I mean,
we're talking Chiefs wide receiver room, and we're doing a lot of recap because we're on a Tuesday as opposed to our usual Wednesday on the Monday game. We'll get to the preview of the Raiders week a little bit later, but I really wanted to see Richie James in this one. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, Dave Tobe talked to the media today on Zoom, kind of. I don't think he's the savior, Mark, but I've seen him do it at the NFL level. He had 600 yards in the Giants offense. I don't know how that's humanly possible, and I've seen that offense play these last few years. Like, I'm not confident that Sky Moore can get 600 yards in this offense right here in Kansas City. Richie James did that in New York, so let me at least see it.
Yeah.
Let me at least see it. Like, I'm not saying that he's going to captain save this offense, but I would like to see somebody with his physical size and his ability make move. And like, we talk about this every week on the platform. Andy Reid's offense, you just need to get a little bit of space. Let's see what Richie James can do with a little bit of space, man. I've seen what all these other dudes can do with a little bit of space.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. At this point, I mean, we're obviously desperate. We're desperate for something. We just want a guy that can catch the ball. Like, that's how low the bar is set right now. Can you get open and actually haul it in with two hands? And then we'll build a statue for you outside of Arrowhead Stadium. I'm telling you right now, if Richie James plays in this game in Vegas and he makes a catch down the field, your X account on the timeline is going to lose its freaking mind. They're going to be calling Richie James the GOAT. Oh, he's the savior. But I'm obviously being facetious here. But no, but seriously, man, like, why not? Like,
I do wonder what's going on behind the scenes there, because it was kind of floated around the deadline. Like, you know, he was that Chiefs were looking for trade options. That kind of seemed like some agent smoke at the time. I thought he was I mean, he practiced fully leading up this week, all 3 days, listed as questionable, inactive for the game. Is it a numbers game that they're playing? Is it they don't have a role for him? I was kind of surprised to see Kadarius Toney handling all the punt return work, considering his injury history as well. Like, if they really are as desperate, well, like, to me, the fan base is desperate, but the coaches haven't really shown us the desperation play yet. Like, they haven't really shown it. It showed they to me seem like they're comfortable. Like, they feel the same way how I came out in the first segment and said, you know, there's a margin for error here, but the defense keeps us in a lot of games, and as long as we make a couple plays, we'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. There is definitely a disconnect, which always is, right, between the coaching staff and the fan base. So I think that's where we're at right now. But after that performance, I think they're going to activate Richie James this week. I really, really do. Because I think you have to see what you got there. And you only have seven games left. Right? We're getting close to December here next week. So it's now or never, right? You got to see what you got. But before we get into the game preview, one receiver we didn't even mention at all, right? And I'm talking about a savior, bringing McCole Hardman back, right? The good vibes of McCole Hardman coming back. He's familiar with the system. He's a guy that's had some success with Mahomes in the past. You know, obviously there was a lot of disconnect there as well, but he had some moments. We're not going to act like he didn't have some moments. And haven't seen much of anything. I don't know. Where do you stand on that? Like, is he just the same with McCall Hardman that we were accustomed to, or they're not giving him the opportunities to maybe stretch the field? Maybe he should take some of those deep shot routes, not MVS. I don't know. Where do you stand?
McCole Hardman was never the answer to the test questions. It was always just somebody that you used to study with that, you know, you did all right back then in the day, and y'all figured out a way to get B's. Y'all figured out a way to win Super Bowls. But like, McCole Hardman was never going to be the Band-Aid for this problem. This is going to take a while to, and like, I think everybody has their own theories on like what exactly is wrong. Like, some people will say it's the play calling, and I'm starting to put a little bit more stock into the Matt Nagy conversation than I did in previous pods. Is it the pass catchers themselves? Are they not talented enough? Is it the trust with Mahomes? I've said before that it's the stew of issues what everybody has in there. But like, McCole Hardman, to me, even when that trade got announced, the compensation told me everything I needed to know about what they thought, what both teams thought about him. I mean, he was going to be a guy that came in here and offered some familiarity, but he wasn't going to be a guy who came in here and paced the team in targets or got like a big lion's share of the opportunities. Like, to me, they have Kelsey and they have about 6 or 7 other guys that can make something shake. And McCole Hardman is like one of those 6 or 7 guys who can make something shake on occasion. But like, I'm not going into a game dependent on 12, respectfully. Cool dude, good locker room guy, knows what they like to do, knows how the offense works. And realistically, that was probably a cover-up for, not a cover-up, but like an acknowledgement that maybe they shouldn't have let him go in the first place. And it would have been helpful to have some familiarity in that room coming into this season in the first place. But now that he's here, what was it? 2 for 20, I think it is for McCole. 2 for 12, excuse me. 2 for 12 for McCole Hardman in the loss to the Eagles. That doesn't surprise me. When you talk about the unit being bad in general in this game, like the fact that he had a mediocre day, that seems right on track. And we're gonna. I mean, the schedule down the stretch is easier. and it offers some opportunities to get right. I never saw this as the get right game. One of the replies to my Eagles post was, "Oh, I see this as the get right game for the offense coming off the bye week." Like, what? In what world? Like, come on. Like, there's much better get right games on their schedule, and it could be this week. It could start as soon as this weekend, Mark.
Well, let's get into the game preview.
Stop it. You can't do this. You can't escape. You can't make these plays. You can't make these throws.
Come on, give us a sneak preview.
Chiefs preview.
Let Mav get on the mic, man. He begging you. He's desperate. He's following his father's footsteps here. You blocking his blessing.
Nah, he's not ready yet, man. He's not ready yet. But no, let's get to this game preview, man. Chiefs Raiders, first meeting of the season in Vegas. The Raiders have actually been pretty competitive as of late. They've won 2 of their last 3 games. They were competitive this past week against Miami Dolphins in Miami. Could have very well won that game. So this game isn't the walkthrough that you may have thought about a month ago, right? And then you got Antonio Pierce as the interim head coach. Yeah, you like Antonio Pierce too?
Big Raiders fan over there.
You're a Raiders fan? You like the Raiders? Oh, no.
He said I heard I am.
He said no.
But
no, players, coach, they're obviously inspired. They've been smoking cigars in Vegas after winning lately.
Were they cigars? Are we sure that they were just cigars? I saw Max Crosby putting on something that looked a little different.
Essentially there.
It was a Philly blunt? You had a Philly blunt there?
But, I mean, like you said, this could be the get-right game, right? Where do you stand on this game? What's your opening thoughts?
Yeah, I'm actually – look, I was out on Vegas very early, but since Pierce took over and they flushed all that McDaniels nonsense out of their system, there has been a new energy for sure for Kansas City. For Vegas heading into this Kansas City matchup. It doesn't – I think anytime you get KC coming off a loss, like we questioned Travis Kelce's focus coming into this Super Bowl matchup, which I think is kind of crazy, but like there's no questioning Kansas City's focus anymore coming out of that game, especially offensively. Like they're pissed. I mean, I still see MVS. If you listen very quietly, like you can hear MVS hitting his helmet on the side walls of Arrowhead Stadium still right now because they're frustrated. Like they understand that they let one slip against a team that they're likely going to have to see again if push comes to shove down the road. I know that Darius Slay video is also probably making the rounds around the Arrowhead facility and some places in the locker room. Like I don't think they take very kindly to people coming into their house. We know that Vegas in the past has stomped on their logo, but in the Darius Slay instance, like doing the chop and telling fans where they can go put it and whatnot. Like from my perspective, I see a fully focused Kansas City team entering a divisional matchup. Vegas sees them as big favorites, and I tend to think if they run back the same game that minus the drops, but if they run back the same running game, especially, and then just a refocused offense, especially with the pass catchers, I think they handle business.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for me, as far as my faith in this offense looking like a functional offense, I don't think it even has to be elite because you do have a top 3 defense, in my opinion, the best defense in the league right now. So if you're just functional and just doing the basic things, Mahomes always talks about getting back to his fundamentals. Well, that's what these receivers need to do. Pop out the jug machine. Are they on that at practice, Aaron? I know you're there for practice. Are they on the jug machine, man? Is that still a thing?
Yes, they're on the jug machine.
Okay, well, are they dropping them or are they catching them? I mean, my gosh.
Yo, y'all make me sick, man, with this. Like, y'all like fans and swear that they know better than what's going on inside the walls.
I'm just asking for you to catch the ball, Aaron. I'm not asking MVS to be a 1,000-yard receiver. I did ask for Sky Moore to be an 800-yard receiver, but
that is one of the nastiest things I think you've ever said on this platform. You double down on it too.
before the year, it wasn't that crazy, Aaron.
6 games in, it was nuts, and now 11 games in,
I'm not. I'm out now. I'm out.
Oh, you can't leave now. You stuck.
So he's gonna get 600 yards in the last 7 games.
That was your boy. It's crazy how you just dropped him right on off.
No, I still want the best for him, but I can't be real at the same time, Aaron.
I want the best.
So would you rather me be delusional still and say he's still gonna get 800 yards? Is that what you want?
You talking about him like a kid that got kicked off the JV team? We wish him you treat him like Matt Canada. We wish him the best in his future endeavors, but we have to go separate ways now.
He seems like a really good kid. He really does. I watch his documentary on YouTube. He has a good family. Seems like he has a very good background, hardworking guy. Came from a small school. Second round pick, defined all the odds. So I wish the best for Sky Moore. I really do. And Aaron's like making these faces right now. I don't know if you're.
I'm just listening. I'm just listening.
Okay.
You were very bold and brash in the preseason.
I was,
and not just the preseason, because you did kind of gloss over this as we talked about the Chiefs wide receiver room, that you want to talk so much about my post on X.
And then I believe, I doubled down on 6'10" when me and you were on there together with CDOT. I still said I believe in the second half of the season that things will start turning around for Sky Moore. I thought that, since he's a second round pick, the Chiefs would do everything in their power to make sure that he can be successful. And I'm just not seeing that anymore. I'm just really not. And it's very discouraging. It really is. Like, I will honestly say this may be my biggest failure of a take of all time.
You've got a lot to choose from. Speaking of your biggest failures from a take, this is August 19th, 2023. This is the deepest and most talented wide receiver room, the Patrick Mahomes era. Scary.
And if you guys don't know, this tweet got posted on Cold Freezing Takes. If you don't know what that is, it's a page on X where they dig up your old tweets that didn't age well, and they put it out there for their millions of followers to see. And I got exposed.
You're a regular on there, actually.
I've been on there probably about twice a year over the last 3 years. But when you make so many takes, you're gonna miss some. It's like a shooter in basketball. Steph Curry doesn't make all his shots. He still misses 50% of his threes, but he shoots 45%. So I still think I have a pretty good percentage, but people only remember the misses. They don't bring up, they need a page for hot, great takes or whatever it can be called. I don't know. For where they honor your takes that age well. Why is it only the negative ones, Aaron? Why do we live off negativity? Your shirt says positive. Be positive, right? So can we honor good takes, or is it just bad takes we honor? We acknowledge.
Well, let's speak on some positivity. Kansas City's defense has been one of the biggest bright spots in this season, and this is a prime matchup. This is like one of those matchups on fantasy where you have that green right next to a player's name. Like, this Raiders offense, I don't have much faith in, led by backup quarterback Aiden O'Connell. What's his name?
Yeah.
I'm looking at their stats right now. Net yards per game, they're 29th. Yards per play, 27th. Points per game, 26th. Possession average, 27th. Net rushing yards per game, 31st, after having the league's leading rusher last year in Josh Jacobs. Net passing yards per game, 23rd. So look, they're middle of the pack at best. That's me being nice. They're middle of the pack at best in most of these offensive categories, going up against one of the league's best defense, according to Mark Gunnels. Get right game.
Yeah. And not to mention, you're talking about Aiden O'Connell. Since he became the starter over Jimmy G, he has 3 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And this is in 5 starts? Yeah, 5 starts. A little over 900 yards, 62% completion percentage. So hasn't been the best. He's shown some flashes at times. Obviously, he's a rookie. He's a young guy. So, you're going to have your ups and downs, especially when you're thrown into the fire. And he wasn't expected to be a starter this year. But with that being said, this Chiefs defense has shown time and time again that they're going to take out your number one weapon. I mean, in last night's game, recording on Tuesday, that day after, A.J. Brown had one catch for 8 yards.
I'm locked up, won't let me out.
Now, granted, Devontae Smith had a pretty good game. He had 6 catches for 99 yards, but I think they make a concerted effort. And this has been a thing that we've always raved about, especially obviously during their heyday now with the Patriots and Belichick. He takes away what you do best. I think we can say that about this Chiefs defense now because we have enough evidence that they're going to take out your wide receiver one. They've done it to Justin Jefferson. They've done it to Calvin Ridley. I mean, time and time again, they continue to do that. Garrett Wilson with the Jets. So I think it's safe to say, especially when you don't really fear a second option for the Raiders. I mean, you got Renfro there, but he hasn't really had a great year. I think it's safe to say they're going to take out Devontae Adams in this game and force somebody else to beat them. And I don't think the Raiders have that guy.
Let's go to Vegas.
Place your bets.
Oh, there it is. There it is. 2 touchdowns. Win by at least 6.
Let's go to Vegas with Mark.
I'm over here sobbing if you wonder why it was so quiet just now.
Are those tears?
This is a rough year, man. This is a rough year, man. I'm almost breaking. I ain't gonna lie to you, Aaron.
No, you broke. I text you after the game, and you text back 3 words. I give up.
You want to make that public, man.
You're not about to. You're not breaking. You broke.
Oh, wow. Aaron said I'm broken.
Oh, well, here's the truth. The Chiefs have won 9 of their last 10 against the Las Vegas Raiders, but Mark Gunnels is in the midst of a really tough stretch in Vegas. Kansas City enters this week, week 12 of the National Football League, as 9.5-point favorites over the Raiders. But let's recap what Mark did last week. Here were 3 plays. He took the Chiefs money line. Kansas City ended up losing the Super Bowl 57 rematch. He also took the over on Sky Moore receiving yards, which the line was 15.5. I remember saying on this platform, look, if he doesn't get here, we need to have a real conversation. And boy, that conversation has been had as Sky Moore finishes with 1 catch for 4 yards in the loss to the Eagles. I hated this play. I don't know why you picked this as your 3rd play, but it was Harrison Butker. Over 2.5 extra points. He got 2 exactly, which I think I called. I literally called that. I'm like, he's not. They're gonna get field goals. It's not gonna happen.
They had 2 turnovers in the red zone. They just needed one of those to be a touchdown. Oh my gosh.
So Mark goes 0 for 3 last week to bring his season total to 9-20-1 on the year. 9-20-1. For Mark Gunnels in Vegas this year. He's not happy to be back. We had to drag him here. He gave up on the way down to Vegas, but somehow, some way, Rock Chalk Mark Gunnels is back with 3 more plays here on Chiefs Coast to Coast. Mark Gunnels, take it away.
All right, man. So let me dust my boots off. Let me stop feeling sorry for myself. Have to keep going for the people. Have to keep striving for 500. We still have a lot of plays left. 7 games left? So that means 21 plays. Got to do 3 a week.
Well, hey, there's still playoffs potentially as well. Don't forget about that. Playoffs. Yeah.
I need a 3-0 week bad, Aaron, in the worst way. In the worst way. So I'm starting off here. I think the Chiefs do come out focused in this game with a chip on their shoulder. So I'm taking not the full game spread because I'm not feeling that one really, not all the way. But first half spread.
Chiefs minus 4.5 in the first half. I'm taking. I think they got out to a quick start, put their foot on the gas. Andy likes to kind of dial things back in the second half. They get up a little bit, so I'm scared of a backdoor cover.
They've been great in the first half this year.
In the first half, I think they come pedal to the metal, get out to a quick start. So I like the minus 4.5 for your first half spread there. And I'm going to the well here. I know he got a touchdown last night, but still didn't play that well. Give me Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. I think that's a very, very safe place to go with. He had 4 in one game against the Raiders last year in that game in Kansas City, if you don't remember. So I feel very comfortable saying he gets in the end zone this week against the Raiders. And then my last play, I'm looking at Aiden O'Connell passing yards. I like the under. It's at 207.5. I love this secondary. We just talked about that. I think they're going to stifle Devontae Adams. And outside of him, I'm not scared of anybody in this receiving room when you're looking at the Raiders. So I don't think he throws for over 207.5, 208 essentially or more. I don't think he throws over that. So those are my 3 plays. Chiefs first half spread minus 4.5. Travis Kelce, ATD, anytime touchdown. And Aiden O'Connell under on passing yards at 207.5.
I love the Chiefs first half spread. That's my Ladd lock. This has been the best team in football in the first half and the worst team in football in the second half. And then they come out focused, and then they come out motivated with a stomach full of turkey and dressing and stuffing and all that good stuff. And I think they put it on the Raiders in the first half. I like that play. Man, you need that 3-0 week like air, like water. You need that.
Pain, bro. This is not for the weak, man.
I'm proud of you for pushing on. I know a lot of people are still betting their mortgages with you somehow, some way. I don't know why, but they are.
Get the house on it. Oh wow.
That was your greatest hit. You opened Chiefs coast to coast with that hit.
I did. I would like to say that went a long way in jump starting this show. I think that was a staple moment. That was a historic moment in the show. Like if we name like the top 5 moments, that's probably number 1.
I think your moment from last pod is up there too.
Hold on, what moment was that? Which one?
You don't remember?
Oh, you talking about? You're like, hey yo. You're like, hey yo. Yeah, that was pretty wild. I ain't gonna lie.
What you doing for Thanksgiving, man? Before we get out of here.
Yeah, man. So chilling with the fam out here on the West Coast. Not going back home to Kansas City this time around. But
that ain't your home.
My mother's coming out here though.
Hey,
out here, so spend time with Maverick, her grandson, and Brittany's family and things of that nature. So yeah.
You cooking?
No, I'm not cooking. No, I'm not cooking. I'm just there to enjoy the festivities.
You're just eating. I'm just there to eat.
I mean, I'm gonna bring up. I'll bring a pack of beer or something, for the guys. Watch the football games.
Full slate on Thursday. We got a Black Friday game on Amazon Prime as well. Chiefs play the Raiders in week 12 on Sunday. And then your boys from Chiefs Coast to Coast will be back on Wednesday next week, maybe Tuesday. You don't know. Who knows? Follow us on X to make sure that y'all are tapped in with the boys. You can send us out of here, point guard.
Yeah, thank you guys for tapping in. As per usual, Aaron Ladd is live in Tennessee. Are you going to Georgia, right?
Yeah, I'm going to Georgia tomorrow. I'll check out the Hawks game, and I'll be back in KC before the end of the week.
Okay. He's going to go check out Ice Trey, your boy Ice Trey. So, yeah, that would be cool, man. And like I said, I'm going to be out here in L.A. just grubbing up, getting fat, drinking beer, and watching at least the Lions are good now. Like, I used to complain, like, why are the Lions always on Thanksgiving every year, bro? I hate this. Like, at least
it's a good team now.
They're a team to watch now. The Cowboys are good, and you got the Seahawks and Niners in the night. It's pretty good NFC West matchup. So not a bad slate for your Thanksgiving game. And it's the first Black Friday game, Aaron, this week.
I just said that. You don't even listen to what I say.
Oh man, that's crazy.
That's crazy, bro. Hey man, that loss just has my mind all clustered, bro. I'm sorry, man.
Coast to Coast is out of here, man.
I don't even listen to Aaron.